Well, welcome to another Sundays with Spirit. If you have a moment to put in the chat where you're joining from and what your intention is, it's a lovely way to tune in. I'm going to do it myself. Put that in the chat. So everything is ready to go. We got a great lineup. I am excited to pray us in, settle us into our hearts. If you'd like to join me with your hands on your heart, take a nice full breath. So grateful for this opportunity to come together. So grateful for the Power of Love ministry, all the offerings, all the opportunities we have to support each other, inspire each other, lift each other up. So grateful for Jennifer for dedicating her life to this ministry. We bless her and the Stop Playing Small participants doing their work that we all benefit from. We are so grateful for the message that Amanda is bringing to us and for the music that Susanne is bringing. We're grateful to both of them for being vehicles of love, vehicles of truth. So we are giving thanks for the gifts that are here for us. We are willing to take them forward and share them with all beings everywhere, being the light workers we are intended to be. So in gratitude and trust, we relax, we sit back, relax, and receive what's ours to receive today. In gratitude, we are allowing it and we bless it. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for putting your intentions and letting us know where you're joining from in the chat if you haven't had an opportunity. It looks like, okay, everything's okay. We're going to start with a song from Susanne. So I'm going to introduce Susanne. She's been here many times and grateful to have her. So a little bit about Susanne. Susanne is a recently retired voice, choir, and music theory teacher. Her first memory of singing was at the age of 5 when she sang her first solo in front of a school assembly. Wow. I have a 5-year-old, so I'm like picturing that. She's spirit led in what and when she sings and is honored to be singing here today to a community who means so much to her. Being raised as a PK or preacher's kid gave Susanne a rich and varied background of spiritual music, and she loves singing the very old as well as the very new. Susanne is in our Ascension Pathway Masterful Living class and has seen great healing in her life through the study and practical application of A Course in Miracles, and from the great support from all in the Masterful Living community. So happy to give you the floor, Susanne. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. It's always good to be here and always good to um, be with my people. Anyway, so I'm going to I piano and vocals. So usually what I do is I sing a couple of vocal things. And in the middle, I'm mainly telling Amanda this. When you come out of your speaking, I'll do like more of an instrumental, meditative, no vocals, just piano. So, this is a beautiful song. I love it. It's called There's a Longing in Our Hearts. And for what is within us to be revealed to us, that we carry it all around with us. Our holiness and our spirit is all within us. It's not anywhere else we have to go. And this is a song about what our hearts are longing for, what we're longing for. All right, here we go. There is a longing in our hearts, oh Lord, for you to reveal yourself to us. There is a longing in our hearts for love we only find in you, our God, for justice, for freedom, for mercy, hear our prayer. In sorrow, in grief, be near, hear our prayer, O God. For wisdom, for courage, for comfort, hear our prayer. In weakness, in fear, be near, hear our prayer, O God. There is a longing in our hearts, O Lord, for you to reveal yourself to us. There is a longing in our hearts for love we only find in you, our God, for healing, for wholeness, for new life, hear our prayer. In sickness, in death, be near, hear our prayer, oh God. There is a longing in our hearts, O Lord, for you to reveal yourself to us. There is a longing in our hearts for love we only find within our God.
Beautiful is the best word. Thank you. So beautiful. And so the journey's beginning into the heart, which is my favorite thing of being here. And thank you so much, Susanne, for that blessing. And I'm so excited to introduce my dear friend and colleague, Amanda Snyder, who is blessing us with a message today. So a little bit about Amanda. Amanda has been a student of the Power of Love Ministry for 5 years and loves the way the ministry has ignited a passion to accept complete responsibility for herself and how she sees the world. She's turning that passion into a spiritual counseling business focused on positive accountability, unconditional love, and divine wisdom. She has also created a podcast with 4 other powerful women in the Power of Love Ministry community called 5 Lemons Laughing. Amanda is committed to showing up authentically and holding a space for healing. So excited, Amanda. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for introducing me, Angela. It's so nice to show up in a format like this and so see so many familiar, beautiful faces. Thank you for smiling right back at me. I really appreciate you. Today, I'm talking about creating healthy boundaries with self-confidence and clear communication. And I get to craft this beautiful story with my horse, River. Anytime I get to talk about River, I love it. It is, I'm finding that my work with River is a clear reflection of how I interact with all the relationships in my life and with the world at large. And what I am learning over and over and over again, that life is a mirror. And if I don't like what I'm seeing in this mirror, that's on me. It's up to me to change that. So a while back, I was talking to a cowboy friend of mine about River and some of the challenges that we're having. I love this man. He is a genuine old cowboy. Probably shouldn't say old. He might be listening to this. But he's full of life and love. He has in the past worked with a string of pack mules. We're getting them all to do what he wants. He tells beautiful stories about living out in the woods, living on the trail for, 6 months, a year at a time. So when he was talking and when he gives me advice about my horse, I really pay attention. He's the type of dude that has no ulterior motive, salt of the earth guy. So when I started to describe River's reluctance to move forward, to move away from the herd, our fighting back and forth to work together, that led my cowboy friend to coming out and meeting River and watching us work together. What he pointed out to me was River was actually stepping into my space, subtly and not so subtly. River was being the boss horse, was placing me behind him in the whole herd dynamic. And that put me at risk for an injury. 1,000-pound animal is not something that you want stepping in your space, stepping on you, running over you by accident or on purpose. It's really about boundaries. And it was time to get some boundaries. So before I get into that, let me give you some backstory that'll about me and River, and that'll help to put this in perspective. So River came into my life by chance about 2 years ago. He was living at my friend's Lisa's house. His owner was moving, and River was left in limbo. He was a horse with a lot of baggage. The owner offered to sell him to me, but I was not looking to be a horse owner. I was working on unpacking my own bags. I didn't want the responsibility of another human being anywhere, another being, not human, another being in my life. I was like, no, no, no. I love that song. But my intuition was telling me to say yes. And my intuition wasn't shouting at me either. It was just gently telling me to do it. It was gently telling me to trust that this would be good for us both. So here I am, a horse owner. River came to me with lots of trauma responses, trust issues, general lack in confidence in himself and in the human beings around him. So I had to trust that this was going to be perfect. I choose to think that our relationship started with trust, and we have been developing that trust into a great partnership. Over the past 2 years, I had to work hard on recognizing his trauma responses and not reacting with punishment. He would ride out nervous. He would spook and jump, hop on his feet, turn around to go home. And every time he did this in any manner, it gave me the opportunity to practice calming my mind, calming my body, reminded me to breathe and be 100% present. Constant reminders to push the pause button, to partner up with the Creator, to clear my mind and allow divine guidance to work through me to reestablish trust. I had to forgive myself over and over again when I overreacted, when I became irritated, when I punished him out of fear. I had to learn to forgive myself and learn that there was actually nothing to forgive in him. He was reacting in survival mode. And I had to practice that until we could relax in each other's company. This took time, and his confidence ballooned. What happened next was amazing, although it took me a minute to recognize what was going on. He was turning into a confident horse. I started showing up to catch him in the pasture, and he would react. He would lift his head up, his tail up, he would go prancing away, he would do bursts of speed and beauty. And my first reaction, the first thing that I did was get to know myself better. My thoughts went immediately into, he doesn't like me. Oh my God, he doesn't want to be with me. He doesn't want to go for a ride. I must be doing something wrong. My insecurities started popping off like firecrackers. I literally felt crushed and defeated. My whole body language just was like, I was moping around, and he was running around having the best time of my life, of his life. Then my amazing friend, Lisa, who was out there with me, spoke a completely different interpretation of the same event. She pointed out that River was being a confident horse. Her comment was something like, isn't that great? Look at his confidence. All the while in my head, I was melting down. The contrast of our interpretation of what was happening was so funny. It took me completely out of meltdown. All I could do was laugh. I couldn't melt down and laugh at the same time. An immediate shift in perspective took place in that moment. The clear definition of a miracle. And from that point on, and our partnership deepened through connection work. He comes right up to me now in the field, and I got the beautiful opportunity to really see him and to know myself better. So that's the backstory. That gets us up to the point where my cowboy friend says, your horse is taking advantage of you. Your horse is bossing you around. It's time to get some boundaries. You have to get some boundaries to be safe. And this is what I get to. This is the point of my story today. It's creating healthy boundaries in my life. What my cowboy friend clearly stated, boundaries create safety. Without clear communication, uncertainty exists. Uncertainty breeds fear, and fear responses lead to unsafety. What I instinctively felt in that moment was, without self-confidence and self-love, there's no way that I could enforce any boundaries. I could go through the motions of creating boundaries. I could learn how to do it, but I wouldn't be able to hold them over time. So for me, learning boundaries started with self-confidence. And I think I'm a pretty self-confident person. I have that sense of self-confidence. And at the same time, I have the feeling of that pull of needing approval, needing to be liked, needing to be soothed by others. Needing. Does this feel familiar to anyone? Yeah. I see at least a few people shaking their heads. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being part of this. I really had to ask myself, am I willing to let go of needing to have a deeper connection that was safe and supportive? Am I willing? Am I willing to unlearn needing and relearn unconditional love for myself and those around me? And here's the real kick in the pants. Am I willing to surrender my ego's will and take divine action? What does any of that even look like? Where do I start? So for me, it starts with invoking, leaning on, partnering up with divine, with the divine. In this instance, I call it the divine spirit of horse and rider. I invoke that to lead and to guide River and I's time together. It looks like me being silent on the drive over to clear my mind, to let go of the day, to let go of the past. It's a constant practice of letting go of the ego over and over and over again, not taking anything personally. It's about trusting the divine to put the right teachers in my life at the right time. And that's not always easy to do. For me, I like to collect evidence. I love the concept of proving God. I do it in all aspects of my life. So as I reflected back on my relationship with River, looking for evidence, River is a horse with growing confidence, and I'm helping with that. He actually likes to go on rides. I was the one that was interpreting his signals incorrectly. We are more relaxed together, and that was definitely a trust that we built together. So now what I'm realizing is that the next step in our successful partnerships is having boundaries. Who knew having, speaking, enforcing boundaries creates healthy relationships, healthy partnerships? Now we are deepening our partnership with boundaries. It seems completely counterintuitive on the surface. Yeah. Doesn't a relationship mean codependency? Isn't partnership sharing everything? Yeah. Doesn't connection depend on becoming one and losing self? It doesn't. Am I willing to unlearn old relationship beliefs and learn healthy boundaries? Again, what does that look like? With River, it starts before I even get in the saddle. It's standing firm in my space and keeping him out of it. Most of the time, it looks like the chicken dance. I'm not kidding. I'm flapping my arms. I'm kicking my legs to get out of my space. When he starts trying to take control, it's me shouting, "You're not the boss of me." Clear boundaries, expanding my bubble. It's hilarious. It really does involve a lot of laughter, compassion, and instant forgiveness. And I will admit it's challenging. What ifs start rattling around in my mind. If I have this boundary, what if he stops liking me? What if he withholds his affection? What if I get it wrong? What if he stops loving me? All legit things, all things that happen in my mind. It gives me an opportunity to pause. Let me collect some evidence. Let me look at how enforcing a boundary is working out in my life. So I have been working on having stronger boundaries with River for a couple of months now. What I'm noticing is we are even more relaxed together. River is more, responsive to my subtle cues when I'm in the saddle. He's more willing to move away from his comfort zone, his herd. He's curious and wants to explore when we're together instead of always thinking towards home. He's less spooky and jumpy, which is actually safer for us both. We are developing trust in each other through open, clear communication with strong boundaries. Our rides are becoming more relaxed, fun, and they really are less about dealing with freakouts and meltdowns. Our communications are just easier, and I'll take that win every day. What has become crystal clear to me is boundaries are key components in healthy relationships. Wow, I didn't see that coming. I'm so glad to be learning this with my partner, River. And I'm really looking forward to having this reflected in all aspects of my life. I'm looking forward to seeing how this boundary is reflected back to me in that mirror of life. So thank you so much for listening to my story about River, for letting me express how boundaries, self-confidence, and clear communication have improved my life and the world and how I look at it. So thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you, Amanda. Wow. Let's take this empowered talk and bring it into our hearts. If you'd like to join me, we'll place our hand on our heart. Take a nice deep breath. Sending our love and gratitude to Amanda for her willingness to be here today to share from her life experience, to provide an opportunity for us to reflect. I know personally I have a small foal a baby horse that I am also working with. So perhaps it's your turn to consider any relationship where there would be benefit to bring spirit in. Any relationship where you feel challenged, knowing that if we are here at Sundays with Spirit, our goal, our desire is to be truly helpful. That's who we are. And like Amanda's example, let us join her and be willing to allow every relationship to be a holy relationship, to be one where we invite Holy Spirit in to guide us. We know these words. The application is dynamic. It requires presence. So considering how Amanda has provided this beautiful example of her recognizing the need to pause, as Jennifer teaches us to partner up, to pause and then partner up. So let's let a relationship come to mind. Any relationship, perhaps you feel there's been a great improvement, but let's go for it. Let's go for the holy, healed relationship. It may even be with yourself. And let us see this person. Who is reflected to us? Which mirror are we looking at? Which relationship? And first, really offering gratitude for the opportunity that's encoded within this relationship. The opportunity to grow in our spiritual mastery, grow our spiritual muscles. So extending gratitude to this person we have in mind. Thank you for coming to be my teacher. And then taking stock, are we calling in spirit for help? When things are getting challenging, are we pausing? Are you pausing? Have you been asking for divine support? Doing this reflection without self-judgment or criticism. Taking this as a divine opportunity to check in. So if you are calling spirit in, celebrate yourself. If you've forgotten, be excited that you realize that. And take a moment just to ask spirit, what is the missing link here? Is there something for me to do? For Amanda, it was establish clear, healthy boundaries. So grateful that we can recognize anything that feels off or missing. We can pause, partner up, and ask to be shown. So we take this forward into our daily spiritual practice, into our week ahead, into our lives, that no relationship need be an ongoing challenge. Could it be that we have forgotten that we are connected to divine support? So together, we're just grateful again to Amanda for sharing the lessons learned. It's coming to me like the Horse Chronicles, wisdom learned. Riding River, being River's horse mom. Grateful for these experiences shared, grateful that we can mimic this process. And then applauding Amanda's willingness to ask for support, to receive it. It came through her beloved friend, knowing that Spirit will send the messengers to us. We together declare a willingness to receive the gifts, receive the guidance. And ultimately, a willingness to have wholly healed relationships, knowing we are worthy of our relationships, feeling effortless, feeling life force enhancing, supporting us. We are willing to know we are worthy of that. And so we steep in this gratitude. And Susanne, come forward whenever you feel ready. And thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much. The subtlety is as profound as, a powerful piece is subtly powerful and beautiful. Thank you so much. Supporting the vibration to continue. Thank you so much. Okay. So we are moving into our breakout opportunity for anyone who chooses to stay. And this is your opportunity to process what came through, to listen to others. This is what we all those of us who've been in this community a long time, we value this opportunity to be heard or simply to hold a space for others. So we will have about 12 minutes. If you choose to join, just be aware of sharing that time. And we just ask everyone to listen with ears of non-judgment, holding each other up. So we can go ahead and move into the breakout. Thank you, April, for setting it up. Okay, well, this is the fun part I've been looking forward to. I am gonna just spotlight, just gonna take one moment. April. Oh, did we lose Susanne? Maybe just for a moment, not sure.
No, I'm here. I'm just shifting.
No problem. Okay. And may I just ask, are you hearing a lawnmower outside my window? Oh,
No, I'm
thank
not.
God, you know? Thank you, Zoom. I think my husband, I'm not sure. Okay, how fun, Amanda. So fun. How did it feel for you, if I could ask you that? How did it feel today to share?
It feels vulnerable to show up. It really does, to show up and share a personal story. Just like in my stories, the what ifs or I should haves or I could have that ego mindset starts really twirling around about what I could do, should, all the coulda, shoulda, woulda start in there. So it's very vulnerable to be in a space like that and share deeply from the heart, right? Yeah. So that's what space I'm in right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
courageous space to be in.
Mhm.
As I look at it, because as that I have those same experiences, and then I get the opportunity to say, did my part, divinely organized, came through in the perfect way. And that's the beauty. So kudos to step out, for you stepping out and stepping forward. Thank you. And Susanne, do you want to share anything that you took away today? Anything that stood out for you?
Yeah, I took a couple of notes and that's what I was scrambling. Like, where did I write that down? I wrote something down when you were talking because it really, oh, when you were talking about the borders or the barriers. What was that?
Boundaries.
Oh, boundaries. Thank you. It was a B word.
Mhm. Yes, it is a B word.
It is a B word. It is so in so many ways. I know. I made the note that that boundaries can be interrupted by people pleasing.
Oh,
That
big time.
people. That's what I connected with because I'm working on that. I've been working on that a while. It pops up. It'll like calm itself down. I'll be calm and like all of a sudden it doesn't take much. It's like for a horse with a carrot,
Mhm.
like I'll be going, I'm in my authentic self, and then an opportunity to people please. I'm like, oh, that would be so good to just people please again for a little bit. And I jump back into it, and then so that was, I loved the way you tied that in with the horse, and um, oh wow, I just loved it. I loved all because the title of it wasn't at all when you started. It wasn't at all where we ended, right? Because it was like, oh, I see what she's saying there. So the boundaries was just very helpful, and that it comes from within the self forgiveness, the internal forgiving, and then everything else shows up. It shows up as internal.
Yeah, it's self-love, right?
Yeah.
That's why a big part of my talk was about boundaries. For me, it had to start with self-love, because that people-pleasing instinct is to move out of whatever state, my authentic self, to become something else, to please someone else. For me, without that aspect of self-love, it's really easy to do. Yeah. Know thyself, right?
Yeah, it's that spiritual bypass thing. You're just bypassing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for picking up on that.
Yes. It's lovely. It's lovely.
I'd love to jump in, because I'm, like I said, I have a full,
A
I have a
little
almost,
filly. She's actually a filly.
she's a filly because she's 5. Okay, good, because we're
She's a
learning.
girl because she's a girl.
She's a filly.
She's
Okay.
a filly. Yeah.
Amazingly that she goes to horse camp tomorrow. So
Yay.
let's get this little filly to be with her people. Um,
Mhm.
one of the things that you said with the safety. So what I've
Mhm.
learned from Justine, when she has expressed her frustration in ways that are actually unsafe to me. So
Yeah.
whether she has never, this is where parents like to qualify. They're like, okay, because you want to qualify because but honestly, as a parent now, I'm like, okay, there is a bit of insanity. I'm probably, this is part of the world we're in. The choice is to be insane, but I would say that, so she has sometimes come at me like scratch me or just kind of like get all up in my area. And then it has triggered, it seems like first it just triggers a response of like, back up.
Mhm.
And then it triggered, I feel like it has triggered old stuff of like, when I didn't do that, I didn't do this. I let people be all up in my thing. And then I just, like everyone, like you're talking about, in a people pleasing way, or it could have even gone to different levels of unsafety, just letting people be all up. And with her, I and see I'm bigger than her, and she's not a big 1,000-pound horse. So what has happened is sometimes, because I haven't had clear protocol, what do I do when she does that? Because she's done things, doing things I wasn't expecting. And what it's been interesting is that's where my ego can be triggered in a way that I end up using old information about what do you do when a child is attacking you. And it's like, so what I also took away, Amanda, is by being consciously clear what we're up to, it saves everyone from things going really uglier than anybody wants them to be. And I found myself as a parent feeling ill-equipped, like, and then I would put myself in positions where I might yell at her, or I might say, nobody gets to touch me. And then I would sometimes like create a physical thing, but then it would be a little bit uncomfortable for me because if she's holding on and I rip my arm out, then I feel like I'm engaging at that level. So I had to, I didn't do it. It's been a process of what do I do? And um, I have received guidance, I have followed it, and I now feel clear. What do I do when she is getting physically in my space? And what I have received is to go outside, physically outside of for in home, because something about the confinement, it contributes to everyone's. So I'm like, I'm going outside. You're welcome to come. I'm going to take some deep breaths. I'm stepping away. I'm not participating in anything aggressive, and you're being unsafe right now. I'm going to be outside. So I've done this several times. We've gone through rounds of it. But here's the thing, I feel safe because I know what I'm up to. And it has nothing to do with me attacking back. And I just read the whole course section on, how in the course it's all about our decision to attack is where we end up having so much upset. It gets us into needing, it's kind of like we make a mess. We got to forgive ourselves. We got to clean up a little bit. And now I'm like, I think my mind was looking for how can I avoid a mess? And how can because it's unloving for me not to have a plan, honestly. It's unloving for me not to know what do I do when she does that. Because when I go into default mode, it's not always pretty. And I'm like, oh dear. So I now have a new sense of what boundaries mean, because she's pushing me and she's asking for me to hold a safe ground, to know I don't allow that. And she knows now, in a way, my teaching is to set her up for success. When we're upset, we don't hurt others. We don't get to hurt. But without clear boundaries and a clear plan, I could be hurting too. I could be hurting her. So it was like, geez, I wasn't ready for that whole thing.
Yeah.
And yet I'm so grateful, because now in recent time, I went outside. And then she said, Mom, you can come in now. I've calmed down. And
Aw.
like, and other times she has also taken paper and marker and drew for me what she was feeling. Because I would say, you got to use your words, but she didn't want to. So I don't know. So my whole thing is just to say, I really fully relate to this, and the safety thing is real for me. The boundaries are real. I have a new appreciation in the course, right? We don't talk about blocking others. We're like, we're one. And yet for me, this level of discussion has been extremely important, because it allows me to stay loving. That's my goal, right? But
Yeah.
without these things in place, it was a slippery slope. So thank you.
So
Yeah.
good. This
It's
is
the
so helpful. So helpful. Go on.
when my cowboy friend was talking about safety, a switch flipped, right? This isn't just about me. This is about safety, right?
Yeah.
Being clear about what I need, what I expect, what I want. It's for safety in all different kinds of levels. You know, when I was talking about a 1,000-pound animal on you, it's not safe physically, but having the courage to do it in whatever manner, like for me, it's with River, gives me the courage. It helps me collect the evidence to actually speak my boundaries, to speak things that keep me safe, speak my wants and my needs and my desires to to people too. So it is it's a reflection, like the mirror. And I love having a discussion about boundaries, because we don't do that a lot in the Course in Miracle circles.
Yeah. Yeah. We cover so much. It's so comprehensive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Some things can be seem less when they're not less. But it's true, in the all of that comes from the internal healing, that it shows up in our lives when the inside is healed. The
Well
mind is
said. Well said.
may it be so. May
And
it
so
be.
it is.
And so it is.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for our discussion. I'm trusting the breakout was fruitful for those who stayed. Thank you. I see nodding. Great job. And applauding you for staying on and getting that bonus gift. That is a bonus gift. You know, proud of you. And if you would like to make a declaration in the chat of something you're taking forward with you, please do. We'll hold it for you. This is what we're here for. We're lifting each other up. And so thank you. Thank you for being here. So we will offer up a few announcements now for the ministry. We provide everybody the opportunity to support the Sundays with Spirit service through a one-time or an ongoing donation. This is our, virtual pass the basket around. If you would like to make a donation, we have the link in the chat. We also have a free offering coming up. Is our next forgiveness letter writing workshop is August 10th. So a link to register for that workshop, where we walk you through the process of writing a forgiveness letter. It's such a beautiful thing. We haven't done that in years past, had these workshops, but you see people who've been in our community for years and years and years going there because they see the benefit of committing that time to writing a letter. So please feel free to register for that if you feel inspired. We also have upcoming for our paid programs, the Finding Freedom program is launching September 9th. And powerful 12-week program, really. It's a 7-week curriculum. You get 12 weeks to work it, and lots of community support and layered in community just pieces that really help you clarify your goals, take those forward, and get the most out of the material. So Finding Freedom is coming up in September. And then this is the opportunity we have. Oh, thanks for your declarations. Awesome. To let Amanda share any of your offerings that you'd like people to know about, where they can find and engage with you more. Please feel free.
You can reach me at Amanda Snyder 123 at gmail.com if you are curious about spiritual counseling and positive accountability. Also, I have a podcast, like she said, like Angela said in the very beginning in my intro, and we talk about spiritual stuff and we laugh a lot. And I put both of those, I put the link to our website, 5livingslaughing.com. You can also find it on all the podcast platforms. And I also put my email address if you're curious or have any questions about River. I love to talk about River or spiritual counseling. So I put both of those things in the chat. Thank you, Angela.
Welcome. I'm ready to see a picture of River on the next Chronicles, by the way. I'm ready. And then Susanne, Susanne, feel free to share any announcements you may have, and then feel free to bless us with your last number.
I have nothing to add, but just thank you, Amanda, Angela, both of you just gave all of us what we needed, I think, today. And definitely things to think about and apply to our lives. And so I was scrambling. I had like 5 songs. I was like, what am I going to do today? So I always have I have stuff. And so this is the one. I never know which one. It really is Spirit. And I had something else picked out. And then when we talked, when you did your talk, I was like, oh. And it's called The Gift of Love. Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire and have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. And though I may give all I possess and striving so my love profess, but not be given my love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we are loving, and we are freed. We are freed. We are free.
Gorgeous. Thank you, Susanne. Justine was kind of like singing with you and mirroring you. Very beautiful. So let us go forward, hymning, humming, singing, we can close with a prayer, just giving thanks for this opportunity to come together. Thankful for Amanda and Susanne sharing their gifts with us, sharing their learning, sharing what Spirit has guided them to share. Grateful for all of you for being here right up to the end, for being our audience, for taking these messages into your hearts, into your lives. We bless Jennifer, all of the Stop Playing Small participants. We're so grateful. Grateful to be in this community, grateful for the healing that's happening, grateful for our willingness to say yes. And so in gratitude, we receive the gifts, we go forward sharing them from our heart in who we are and how we show up. We're letting them be. All is done, all is well, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, April, behind the scenes, made my job so easy. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.